Welcome to Relax Time Radio, broadcast nightly from 7:30 to 9 p.m. on Radio Thailand, Chiang Mai.
Hey.
Good evening.
Hi, everybody. It is Relax Time Radio, although it might not look like it, or I don't know. It still sounds like it, I guess.
That's right.
But you are here with me, Paul, Sugars, and
Mon.
And we're recording this on Thursday. You're listening to it on Friday, I guess. I hope.
We hope so.
We hope. But yeah, because of the lockdown and everything, we're having to move our work home, move our studio home, and so we're recording this. I'm in my home. Mon's in her home. Mon's home looks more interesting than mine, and also Mon's got a better webcam than mine. If you're watching.
Well, we could put a filter in mine so we both look like a little bit retro.
Yeah, so it's gonna look a little bit different, possibly sound a little bit different. But anyway, we're going to be still I'm still going to be Paul, and Mon is still going to be Mon, right?
Yes.
And so we're going to be talking.
Our content is still going to be amazing.
We're still going to be talking about Paul and Mon kind of things, and also we're going to be still playing the music that we play.
That's right.
So what are we talking about today, Mon?
So because of the lockdown and because of the isolation that some people have to be in, I thought we're going to talk about fun things that we can do at home while we're all kind of not able to leave.
Yes, that's an excellent idea. I think the whole world is thinking about this. It's all over Twitter, it's all over Facebook. People have got millions of ideas, and we've got some ideas too. Yes. You never know, you might not have heard our ideas.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so well, as usual, I guess we just keep the tradition and started off with some Beabadoobie, right?
Yeah, that's what you're gonna do.
Okay, so let's do that, and then we'll come back and talk about the things that you can do when you're locked away at home.
That's right.
Hope everybody's doing well out there, and sorry that you can't call in and leave requests today. We recorded this yesterday, even though as I'm speaking, we're doing it now. If you're listening, it was yesterday. Okay.
But what you can do is leave as song requests under our Facebook post for next week, and then we're going to play them next week for you.
Oh, and because we've never done this before, although Mon has used like this software that we're using, I might occasionally ask Mon technical questions because I don't know what I'm doing yet. So bear with me if you hear me asking Mon technical questions. Mon, I have a technical question that I didn't ask you before, which is, if I start playing the music now, our microphones, like last night when I was testing this, if I spoke, the music cut out. So in other words, our microphones deactivate the music, or is that not right? That's what it was doing last night for me.
You need to share your screen now and share audio only, and then put the music on.
That's already done. Yeah, that's already done. I was just saying, like when I spoke last night, the music automatically cut out. The microphone automatically cut the music.
You're
but anyway,
just not allowed
I guess we can just
something.
not speak. Well, okay, technical. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, this is
Here's where we can talk.
And Space Cadet. We'll be back. Okay, we'll be back. That sounds a bit quiet.
Feeling shit again. Haven't left my bed. Never brush my hair. And if you guess this is the first one.
I just can't help it, landed in love. You for a moment, things are looking up. You know the punchline before the joke. You're drinking whiskey without the coke. Honey goes to work in the morning while I'm still half asleep. Your honey goes to work in the morning without me. Oh, this is your wake up call. Not me. I've been lying to myself for weeks. Your wake up call that I want. I'm just trying to find my way back home. For your wake up call. What's that sensation? I'm on the ropes. Self-deprecation, or is it love? My stomach's turning like drying towels. My ears are burning, consonants and vowels. And honey goes to work in the morning while I'm still half asleep. And honey goes to work in the morning without me. Oh, this is your wake up call that I need. I've been lying to myself for weeks. Your wake up call that I want. I'm just trying to find my way back home. For your wake up call. And don't leave, just stay. I'll be right here most of the day. Don't leave, just stay. I'll be right here most of the day. Don't just stay. I'll be right
Okay, that was a bit sketchy there, but you know, we're working in unusual circumstances. I was trying
Yeah.
to fade that song out. Sorry, no jingles, everybody. I couldn't get couldn't get the right jingle.
Well,
Um,
but welcome back to Relax Time Radio. You're here with
Yeah, that
Paul
was
and Mon.
yeah. What was that song? I was going to tell you what that song was. That was Wake Up Call by a band called Circle Waves.
Well, we're
It's the
definitely
Friday
in a
shows
wake
that
up
we
call
play.
right now.
Yeah. Okay, so it is still Relax Time Radio. We're still broadcasting on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai, and we're gonna stay with you regardless of what the coronavirus does. But we're just having to do it from home.
Yes.
Glad that you could be here with us. Today we're going to be playing new music as usual on Friday, and we're also going to be talking about our topic of the day, which is
Fun things to
things that you can
do.
do
Yep.
at home
In lockdown.
in the lockdown. So, well, what have you been doing, Man? What do you think is a fun thing to do?
You know, it's super funny. I make fun about that. Certainly, I don't know, you've probably seen those memes from all of the introverts that say like, you know, there's like this really awkward kind of looks like Flat Eric in a weird version that like looks behind him, and it says like when suddenly your lifestyle is called quarantine. And I'm making fun of this because I do live like this, kind of like, not all the time, but I mostly live like this anyways. I don't leave my home a lot. I go out to shop for groceries, and I don't leave my house after 8 p.m. anyways, so who cares? So
So this is just giving you the excuse to live your ideal life.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. And also it's a great excuse to say like, I'm sorry, I really don't have time to meet you because, I'm locked in. So sorry.
Yeah. Well, you're in a house, so you kind of got a little bit more connect, and you're on the mountain as well, right? So you're a bit closer.
Yes.
Well, near it. You're near it.
Yes, but this also has a little bit of a disadvantage right now, being surrounded by fires.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's a blessing and it's a curse at times like these. Yeah. Yeah, but so what am I doing at home? That to answer your question, I started. So before this all happened, I bought a little bit of sports equipment that is still in its original condition. I don't dare to admit it, but so basically I prepared to do more sports, and specifically ballet. And I think I said that like a few shows ago that I want to get back into ballet. So I finally got the rest of the things that I really need or in my head that were excuses to not dance. So now I got all the excuses out of the way, and I just have to do it.
So you've got the space to do that, have you? In your house or in the garden or something? You can practice ballet.
Basically, like right behind me where you see the door, but there's like a big living room, and there's basically nothing really there. So there's a lot of space there, and I have a terrace that goes halfway around the house. So certainly enough space to dance. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm like you. I kind of on the one hand, I like to go out every day a little bit, but I'm an introvert as well. So to be told to stay home is so you know how when you see those films in like films that are set in prisons, like American Hollywood films or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I know like prisons are terrible. I would never want to go to prison, but like when they have those scenes where the prisoners get sent to solitary confinement, I think that'd be all right. I could manage that solitary confinement. You never know, but for me to be locked away in my room is no biggie. I've always loved to read. I can find endless things to do just on my computer. But I also do have. I'm going to show you I've got some bamboo flutes. So I've been practicing these a little bit more than normal. So right. I'm at home, maybe annoying the neighbors slightly more than normal, but it's not a very loud instrument. My first instrument, saxophone. This is something I can play at home, and let's just sing.
Yeah, sure.
So I can do this kind of thing and, learn some music, practice my flute. That's nice.
I love it. I think confinement, is a little bit different because literally you get taken everything away. And I feel like people feel the same way, especially like our extrovert friends. I have the feeling that sometimes they feel like they're stuck inside. They're not allowed to see any people, which they kind of strive from, right? To be surrounded by people. And I feel like they feel like they're in prison. But I made this really, really harsh comparison on a German workshop that I've given a few days ago for free for business owners. And this is a thing that I think many people forget, that we have it really, really, like when I say we, I mostly talk about people like you and me, and the people who have usually a normal life. I don't talk about the poor people because I think they're suffering the most from the situation right now. But
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, me and you can buy air purifiers, and to sort of try and defeat the bad air, but most
yeah,
people can't, right?
yeah,
This kind of
yeah.
thing.
And also, like, if you look at, for example, like what I wonder about is as well, where are all the homeless people, refugees, ethnic minorities, what are they doing right now, and how they do, how do they get help, for example, right now with the situation and with like healthcare and whatever, right? So in times like these, I like to also remind myself that we do, like, we as in people like you and me, but also Thai people who are well off, who usually have a good job and who are not on the lower end of the society, but in every country, right? So mid class as well, for example. So they have, for example, we need to understand that we're not in a situation where our life is really in danger. We just have to stay in. Like, it's not like yesterday I talked about this. I'm sure you remember Anne Frank, who had to
Yep.
hide for over 2 years in a tiny warehouse. I think it was like 16 people with her family and a few others for over 2 years, and try to be quiet, not even, make music or whatever, be quiet, not to be found by the Nazis. And that was like in the Netherlands. And so if we just, I know it's not good to compare, but if we just look at it from a different perspective, we can say, oh, finally, we have more time as family. We have time to do things that we always wanted to get done, but we never had time for it. So now we're basically, we're put into our houses. So why shouldn't we use this time? So I think sometimes to just switch this perspective also helps to not feel so stuck,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. People in different situations really are going to have a different attitude towards us. Like, in England, where I'm from, some of my family have already lost their jobs, but there's different. They're still sort of protected. There's still the state system. There's still welfare. I'm here, all business shut down, people living day to day. I mean, for example, I was just thinking to myself, I live in Sandytown. There's no panic buying in Sandytown, and the number one reason for that, in my mind, is people don't have enough money to panic buy. People don't have enough money to buy a week's worth of groceries and things. That can't happen here.
Exactly.
So how do people live who've been living day to day, daily salaries? That's really tough. Yeah. So anyway, for us, I agree. I was listening to a podcast, one of my favorite podcasts the other day, and for example, the guy it was actually called the Artificial Intelligence Podcast. I love it, but just because of the guy that does it, he's this Russian guy, and he's just like, I don't know, I like it. But he's basically saying, yeah, for people who can, for example, if you're doing a business or whatever, and you're forced to shut down for a while, as tough as it might be, you have an opportunity to sort of reevaluate, reimagine your life a little bit. Even if you don't want to call it an opportunity because it's so tough, you're forced to do something. And at least if you can, at least if you're in a position like me and you, where the basic necessities of life are covered, then you're okay. You have time, like you say, you have time in your hands to rethink your life, reimagine your life, what you're doing, work out if you're doing exactly what you want to be doing, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's a really good, I mean, that's deep stuff. That's deep philosophical, life changing stuff. And many of us do actually have an opportunity now, because big parts of our lives have been put on hold, and we're not sure when we're going to come out of it, to reimagine our lives in a way. That's a huge one. I wasn't expecting you to go that deep that quickly, man.
I'm not holding back, but it's really the thing, right? I think some people, they need to be forced into change, because no matter how painful it is for them to live in a job that they really hate, and to just live day by day, and to just, maybe they live in a place that they don't even really like, they always think that change is more painful than the situation that they're living in. It's more painful, it's harder. You know, they always think they have to start new, but that's not really what it is. So if you look at it now, this is literally the world pushing the reset button and say, well, here you go. You have a chance to do something completely new and something that you really love to do, or you just stay stuck, and the outcome is going to be really obvious, right? Many people lose their jobs already, as you said, right?
Mm.
Others may not be even able to find a job that they were looking for. I mean, look at the economy. The whole world is just like being turned upside down. So what are you going to do with it, right? Are you now going to be, okay, I'm going to wait this out? Because if you're sitting at home and you say like, I cannot do anything, then you're going to be the ones who are the last ones to get anything out of it by the end as well. But if you're sitting at home, you're like, okay, what can I do that will help me maybe afterwards or during this time? And I can give you a whole list of, for sure, 100 things to do right now that will help you in life and in business. And well, that's what we're here for today, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another thing I've seen like people commenting on is, because, you know, we're living in this social media world. So we're all forced, more people in most countries around the world, to be practicing sort of well, they're calling it social distancing, which is meaning sort of really physical distance, you know,
Mm-hmm.
keeping physical distance from other people, isolating ourselves, staying home, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then on the other hand, like, I'm definitely very grateful that we do have the internet and all the communications technologies, you know,
Yeah.
systems that we have, including social media. But at the same time, as we've learned, like as a society is learning that really social media interaction can't replace human interaction. So you know, it's also like there's also a temptation to maybe live completely in your online social media persona, but that won't necessarily fulfill you in, you know what I mean? Am I making sense? It's not an area of specialty. Okay, I'm not a psychologist, so it's difficult to say, but you know, I'm basically trying to say I agree with you that we can't just go mad and get sucked into the whirlwind of you know, trying to replace all our human interactions with social media and not do other things like you're saying, you know, like think about your life, think about what we can do to, you know, help ourselves come out of this, etc. Or, you know, rethink some of the foundations of our life, because we may have to anyway, right? We don't know when or even if things are going to go 100% back to normal. We just don't know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, I think it's really interesting because you're saying something that is very true, that some people are trying to hide behind their online identity kind of thing. And they're actually maybe sitting at home, but they feel really not good about being isolated, whether that's physical or even now also mentally, because they're not able to close the gap between being physically away and being able to build relationships in a different way, right? So I think it's really important that we all understand what it means to be physically separated right now, but to come closer together in a meaningful way. Online, for example, which last week we talked about mindfulness, or was it 2 weeks
was it
ago?
2 weeks ago? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, all of these things, for example, will help you to understand what is going to be meaningful for you and what not online, for example. Like the amount of people I have unfollowed, unfriended, blocked, it just in the past week is, I mean, I'm very sure it's just made a lot of space for way more light and love, you know, just because they're saying so many bad things. They're like I don't know, like what's going on in your head that you need to be so malicious right now, right? So I don't want that in my surroundings, so it's gone.
I got you. Like for example, you know, me and you're right in the thick of it on the mountain. Me and you can agree that, for example, the burning of the mountain, etc., is terrible. But I also get frustrated. I don't like to see people getting really angry and lashing out because, you know, these are difficult problems to fix, and lashing out and just spreading blame is not contributing to the solution either. So
yeah, and especially if we look at the culture, it doesn't help because it's going, it's literally passing the people who should be hearing it. It's going to just fly by because you are literally attacking them for them trying to keep their lives up as well. So
yeah, and it's complicated. Like because I heard that well, it was in the newspapers that one of the fires, at least on Doi Suthep, was maybe started by a Burmese man who was just trying to sleep and keep mosquitoes away. I mean, you can imagine now, supposing they're like migrant laborers and their work is stopped, and maybe people will, as they've done for generations in this part of the world, go to the forest and try and survive that way. I mean, we like living as we do here in relative security because we can afford apartments and still to buy food, etc., and do things online. I mean, for some people, it's just so much more difficult, and their struggle to survive is quite hard to imagine for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we've taken. I can just hear Tom now. I can just imagine Tom thinking, "Well, they really opened a big can of worms now."
Well,
sorry,
hi
Tom. We
Tom.
can't
How are you doing? You're very welcome.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
What can we do? Well, should we try and play a bit of music and then maybe come back and think of some more lighthearted things that people could be doing?
Definitely.
Okay, why not? Well, okay, what have I got next in the playlist? Is this gonna work? So sorry for the lack of jingles, and also I'm not sure the fade-ins and fade-outs might be a little bit rough. Sorry for that. But this is a song called Rolling Into One by Jordan Rakei. We'll be back after this and another song. All right.
In the wake of the madness, I held it till it came right. Yeah. I'm looking on the bright side while they wreak in the havoc. There's no random access here. Erase what they call memory. I'll make sure they remember me until they disappear. I'm asking permission for where I stand. I don't know where to hide when said and done. Takes more than you will ever understand. It's rolling into one. I wish I'd never seen the danger that life posed to me, circling all around me. I hope for memories that never fade like her and me, worshipping unto the ground we fake it till we make it, that we dream about nothing but us. Take it till they break us, they'll be screaming out, misplacing our trust. I'm asking permission for where I stand. I don't know where to hide when said and done. Takes more than you will ever understand. It's rolling into one. If I had answers system. We won't run away. Lifelong prison. Life's too short to leave it to them. Theory tells me if we wait it, my own story serves the waitress. Fool as the plate gets empty questions. Something I can't stomach. Dress me down like naked clones that share their souls for cheap romantics. Less the antics, we're human intelligence. So as you know, it's all or nothing. Show some grace, oh mine, my love. Souls keep swimming against the current. Show me we love you. Show me we love you. Show me we love you. Ooh, I'm asking permission for where it stands. I don't know where to hide when said and done. Takes more than you will ever understand. It's rolling into fun. Ooh, I'm asking permission for where it stands. I don't know where to hide when said and done. Takes more than you will ever understand. It's rolling into fun.
Get it.
There's a funky feeling in my bones, in my bones, in my bones. I got some funky feeling. I don't wanna feel it on my own, on my own. What I do? There's a constant tapping in my toes, in my toes, in my toes. I get this tapping feeling. Got to tell you something. I don't know what I do. If there's a thing you wanna get right, then now's the time to get that funky feeling back. If there's a thing you wanna get right, then get your boogie in your bones all through the night.
There's a pressing question on your lips, on your hips, on your lips. You got some kind of question, like you got something to say. Ha ha ha! It's a question I could answer with some kiss. What I do? There's a kind of magic in your smile, in your smile, in your smile. I found some kind of magic. Kind of thing I wanna stay a while, stay a while. What I do?
You wanna get you right, then now's the time to get that funky feeling right.
'Cause you can feel alright.
If there's a thing you wanna get you right, then get your boogie in your bones all through the night. Now I got this feeling in my heart. Be my rush, be my crush, be my fantasy. Be my blush, feel my touch, baby you can say. Now's the time to get a funky feeling on me. So use it and oh, I got this feeling in my heart. Be my rush, be my crush, be my fantasy. Be my blush, feel my touch, baby you can say. Now's the time to get a funky feeling on me. So use it and oh, I got this feeling in my heart.
I've been obsessed by the present ever since I got a lesson. Get your pretty president, you got me thinking that's a design. You got me guessing if it's you love or guessing. You wanna make me crazy or what? And you don't know nothing about struggle. You think I'm in a bubble like I ain't got nothing to say. I ain't got nothing to say. No way, not today. So come again another day.
English, real French for the butchie hoes and mansions. Real G got a fish from the government. Real French, that's a whole lot of baggage. Messing with me is tragic. You a whole bad wagon. Black girl, man.
Hey, 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 what's happening? I never expected to realize you're free. The powers that be are just the powers you see around you. Only as powerful as the truth you tell. Every static concentration, every art cultivation, every art decoration to the source of information. I never expected to realize you're free. The powers that be are just the powers you see around you. Only as powerful as the truth you tell. Be my rush, be my crush, be my fantasy. Be my brush, be my touch, baby you can say. Now the time to get the funky feeling on me. So use it up, now I got this feeling. Be my rush, be my crush, be my fantasy. Be my brush, be my touch, baby you can say. Now the time to get the funky feeling on me. So use it up, use it up, use it up. Now I got this feeling, and now I got this feeling, now I got this funky feeling.
All right, that was Jacob Collier featuring Kimber and Hank and the Bangers, brand new song just released yesterday.
Love it.
All right, more music coming up. Sorry, we can't do any requests. Oh, hang on a second. I've still got this starry background. Let me make myself normal. Let me make myself normal again. Yeah, I was supposed to have a green screen, but I couldn't. My camera's too bad. Actually, it wasn't really working. Yeah.
But
All right,
that's
there we go.
fine. We can figure
Anyway,
it out.
it's fun. I feel it's like more musical to have those backgrounds
Yeah,
at least when the music's on.
I tried, but it kind of cuts me out all the time, so I need to figure something out later.
Okay, so
Yeah, let's bring
Well-
on the fun ideas.
yeah, we went to the heavy place first. I guess we couldn't help
Get it out of
ourselves.
the way.
Okay. Well, but you said you're doing ballet.
Yeah.
What else? What else are you doing?
Well, so
Can you
let's
do?
just start there. I think I also want to use the opportunity to kind of just share with others what I've seen out there, what's happening. I think that would be really cool for people to take part, right? So for example, I've seen online lessons or online just classes you can join for martial arts from Core Combat Chiang Mai. That's so awesome. They just, within a day, they moved everything online, and now you can share classes. The first one is free. So if you want to join a free class of martial arts, you can go and then you can practice at home. And I think that's super cool. You can fight your pillow, which is amazing.
I saw some courses on, like some of the world's top universities have put on courses online for free that usually are thousands of dollars. I think, like, for example, Stanford University in the US put on their most popular course ever in history. It's normally like $3,000 or something, and they put it on for free.
Yeah. So so things like this. I was going through sports first, so because I'm trying to structure, but let's just jump in between. But yeah, so sports, the martial arts, ballet, you can definitely on YouTube, you can find so many free things, like any type of sports really. If you want to learn a new technique in whatever martial arts, I'm sticking to this up a little bit, but also if you want to learn to dance, you can find any kind of dance online, may it be YouTube. There are a lot of professional ones. If you want to do yoga at home or Pilates, there's free resources there. Definitely. Yeah, so then obviously you can just learn a new skill, like it could be a language. You could learn to program websites, you know more about that than me. You can learn
a little bit, not much.
You can learn design. Like, now's the best time to learn anything that you could even do from home on your laptop and offer it worldwide to other people later on, right? So to create like some type of online income, for example.
Or you could learn a language.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
because like these days so many people are learning online anyway, with online teachers. So you can if you want to speak to someone face to face, you can do that, or you can do it another way. There are games and apps that teach languages.
Exactly.
course.
Or if you do speak already 2 languages, you can offer that to teach others, for example. Right?
Right. Yeah, right.
So there are places where you do not have to have a license simply because you're not supposed to give structured teaching lessons, but you're supposed to be a speaking companion, but people pay you for it. And so still being able to just tell them this is wrong, that is wrong, you know, here's that vocabulary and whatever. And it's really helpful because a lot of teachers are just teaching online and other people, for example, are there to help you speak, right? So that's really cool. Yeah, so obviously we can go a lot into arts. Like you said, music. Like how many music instruments are there to learn?
Yeah, well, I mean, aside from learning, I've just seen so many musicians putting out their content that normally, you know, they've been saving up. I've seen people live streaming concerts, perhaps that were planned for DVDs, this kind of stuff. So musicians around the world, obviously stuck in like everybody. They're live streaming, they're putting out like this amazing music, and some of my musician friends from around the world have been doing all sorts of crazy things.
Yeah, one of my friend is a licensed Red Bull DJ. He's from my hometown. Like he literally climbed the ladder, you know, step by step. But I mean, when I got to know him, I think I was 16, I want to say. So like 17 years ago. And he's been out there, but as you said, he's giving now live streaming from his home studio. He has a really professional home studio and he's DJing basically live from home, and it's amazing. You can watch it on Instagram, for example. Anyone who wants to, you know, just reach out. I can share a few resources with you if you want on our Relax Time Radio Facebook page. Just comment there and I'll post it below if you want. So yeah, definitely we can share our music friends. What else? I think handicrafts are really, really popular as well now.
Handicraft, like can people? Do you think people can still get supplies and things?
Maybe that's a really good question. That's actually a really good question. So because I went to Big C today, and I needed to buy a extension cable for my new air purifier because the old one kind of didn't do much. Was being in the middle of the fire. And so guess what? So first of all, I went into Big C, they checked that I have a mask, they checked my temperature, and they disinfect me with a shower.
Wow, really?
You have to walk through a tunnel that has this disinfection showers, and like, well, I feel safe going in here now because everyone, if you didn't go through that or if you didn't have a mask, you wouldn't get in. And then not only they had a laser pointing basically at everyone walking in, and it was an immediate, you know, but also upstairs they checked me again. I'm like, all right, okay. They did the same thing in the shop for the air purifier. They checked my temperature and they wouldn't let me any clothes if they didn't check it before. I'm like, all right. But anyways, besides that, I think it's really safe to say in Big C, they had to close all the sections that had nothing to do with food or with cleaning stuff. So I couldn't get an extension cable, which is fine. It's not you know, like I'm not gonna die from it. I have a plug surely somewhere here. But the thing is, you're right. So getting supplies might be not a thing that you would be finding right now, but I want to say you might be able to order them
online. Yeah, I mean, I think people are reporting that maybe there are delays, but that, you know, that deliveries are still happening, but maybe you might expect delays.
Right. But on the other hand, you might still have things at home or things that you don't use anymore. So for example, maybe you have clothes that you wouldn't wear anymore, or you would want to donate, or you would just throw them away. You can reuse them. You can make handbags. You can make gloves. You can make earrings. You can make anything out of it, for example, right?
You had a jacket made. Well, you didn't stitch it yourself, but you had a jacket made, didn't you?
Yeah.
So it's kind of cobbled together out of bits and
That's right.
pieces.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
nice.
really like this stuff. I'm not able to do it myself, but I'm happy to, also support like local tailors, and they help me do it. So it's great.
Yeah, right. I mean, I know several people, friends here, Thai friends, and foreigners who make jewelry and this kind of thing, and yeah, they make them by hand. So I'm
Hmm.
sure that people who have those skills could use their time at home like productively.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah,
But then there
like
are also things, that I think would be really great. So if you have a family and you live with people together, so I don't, but if you do have that, there are things you can do to get to know each other better. Because you may think you know your family, but I promise you, you don't, right? And so there are like these card games, for example, with all of these questions, like to get to know each other better. But you do not have to buy the cards. You can just Google, for example, the card deck, or you can just Google, top 50 questions to get to get to know someone better. And there are psychologically actually some questions that you really can ask to just get to know people deeper and better, because you may not know what your brother's deepest dream is, and why not take the time now to get to know that, and see if you can support each other after this whole thing is over.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. Like that's one of the things that sometimes uh, bothers me about like the way I use the internet, and the way I think a lot of people do is, we spend so much of our time on social media, a few news sites, YouTube. I mean, YouTube is like, it's tricky because there's a lot of like great music and other stuff on there, but um, and we sometimes forget that, like we said, there's online courses. You can learn languages. You can do so many. There's so much information, so many things you can do, but
Yeah,
you do have to like spend a little bit of effort to think about uh, how to make it more useful,
yeah,
especially the time like this, because obviously if you're working full time or everything's normal, then that's just like part of your day, and it might be an unwinding part of your day. Whereas now, being at home, to make use of the tools that you've got around you, more limited tools maybe, but the internet really isn't more limited. So yeah, you have to kind of be a little bit more creative, don't you, in how you approach things,
yeah.
because we
I
have
think it's
habits, right? I have habits, on my computer,
uh-huh.
which are maybe okay for normal times, but if I were to just fall back into those habits now, maybe it would be more of a waste. I'd be wasting more time than necessary.
Mm. I think it's also something about intention, because a lot of people don't have any intentions when they're
Mhm.
going to use their phones and social media, right?
Yeah.
If you hear that noise, that's the helicopters that fighting the fires. I have the helicopter forest landing station right next to my house, so sometimes it's been loud. Um, so basically, what happens is you're just taking your phone and you're like, oh, let me entertain myself because I'm really bored. And then you
Yeah.
take this and you're just like, going through, and you're like, oh, okay, but you have no intention. Like, setting an intention is really easy. You can say, okay, I want to learn, for example, 10 new vocabulary for a language, right? And then you give yourself an hour and you look for like 3 videos on YouTube, and then you go through them. And you can put a alarm clock or a stopwatch or whatever. When the hour is over, you just have to stick to it and put the phone down and know that, okay, now after I've been on the screen, I'm going to go and do something different.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, it does, like, if you want to make use of this time, then you need a bit more discipline, and, like you say, an understanding
Yeah.
of intention. Yeah, some more intention and a bit more
Yeah.
discipline. Yeah, it's true.
I do use
Um,
the time, for example, like I do intentionally actually watch about like, I give myself about three videos, which is like about 10 or 15 minutes to watch American Idol. Just because it has to do with music, and I just like sometimes to watch their short clips by the end of the day to just unwind and just let my brain do nothing, basically.
We have to take breaks. I did an episode on this like a while back with DJ Nam, and I don't know if Lily was there at the time, but about the science of taking breaks and how you become much more effective, productive at work if you take the correct amount of breaks. Don't work for too long. There's a number of different ways to do it, but I seem to remember that one of the ways was that that you should work for a maximum of something like 50 minutes and then take a 15-minute break. This kind of thing,
Yeah. 45 minutes
be,
it's been set to be apparently the amount of time that someone can hold focus for the maximum time based on our brain structure.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, should we take another musical break and then come back with some more ideas?
Yes, definitely.
I guess we have to do a top 3 as well at some point, don't we?
Yes.
Right now we're recording this at some strange time in the afternoon, so I'm a little bit at loss of what time this is as our listeners are hearing it, but we'll work it out. I don't know how much of the show is left, but Mon will
30
tell me.
more minutes.
30 more minutes. Okay,
yes.
We have 30 minutes left of our show. Right now we have some more music, and I'm gonna like this. I think there's like some new Prince material is being put out. Anyway, right now I have a couple of songs. One's from a new song from Becca Stevens, and another is a Prince song called Le Vol. I'm not a total Prince groupie, so I'm not totally up on his material, but I think I remember reading that they're still like going to be putting out new material. So anyway, we'll be back after a couple of songs. This is I Wish by Becca Stevens.
Please, baby.
to the vineyards of Laveau. Wanna see the mountains where the waters flow. Life back home depresses me, it's another form of slavery. The cost of freedom is anything but free. I don't care if they're all covered with snow. I don't care if the road is narrow, if it is, I know it was always meant to be. Still in love, I must believe. Whatever path I choose will lead me home. Lead me home, Laveau. Take me to the streets of Portugal. That might be my destiny, to see the waterfall. Tears and rain, they're all the same. The only way to win this game is to let everybody play and share the ball. Ain't no budget, got no chains on me. They got no chains on me. Flying higher than any mountain, deeper than any sea. A paradox's box is key. I'm the Hawaiian mystery. You can unlock the secrets if you please. Take me to an assembly in New York. Speak of a brand new everlasting war. To win or lose is so absurd, and the only casualty's the word, the word. Revolution time has come today. Somebody took a black face to see the same decay. Like the chocolate of that bay, in the sun they'll melt away. And as for me, I'll laugh and go to the mountains where the waters flow. Back to the vineyards of Laveau. Laveau, 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 Laveau.
We're back. That was Prince Laveau, and I have to apologize to Prince songs because it wasn't something newly released. That was from his 2010 album. Yeah, there you go. Still, we don't play much Prince, do we? It's perhaps an oversight on our part, my part. Okay, what have we got? Well, what else have I been doing at home? Can you hear me? Actually, I can't hear you, man.
Yeah, sorry, I always mute myself
I can hear you
because I don't want to interrupt the music.
Yeah, got you. Okay.
So.
All right. I still got my crazy background. Just let me get.
Yeah, maybe we still have
crazy background.
Maybe we still have some fun ideas that are not as as widely known that people can do, and where to find things.
Yeah, well,
what would you do if you didn't work and you didn't have your music? What would you do? And no books.
Well, I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult to say because I'm at home doing lots of stuff a lot anyway. So, you know, I translate, which I'm doing now a bit more. Yeah. I've never really actually studied anything. I've like tried to learn a language online to a degree, but I haven't really taken any online courses, so I don't have much experience with that. If I didn't have music, that's a tough one because, yeah. Well, I mean, I try to learn stuff, but not in such a rigid way. So I'm always reading, like, and I find a lot of stuff online. So I find, for example, one of my favorite things to do is because don't read so many new books. I find books online for free because anything that's over 30 years old, or there's a lot of great stuff out there that's past copyright. So you can find amazing books as ebooks or PDFs online for free. So I have a huge collection of stuff like that I read it on my phone or a computer. So I'm always like searching out interesting things to read online. That's definitely one of my favorites.
Cool. So what else would you do? Is there anything in your life where you said like, oh, when I don't have to work anymore, when I'm retired, whatever, I definitely want to do that?
Actually, I haven't been playing. Well, I don't know if it's a realistic thing. I've been learning music for a while, but in my view, because I'm like playing, because I've been playing with jazz musicians, and that's not really music that you can learn quickly. I mean, in my view, I haven't even started to learn jazz. So in my mind, that's one thing that I'd like to seriously learn. I haven't seriously learned music yet. I haven't seriously learned jazz yet. So I do have it in mind that I could seriously try and learn music, not just mess around as I've been doing. Yeah.
So I think, that's one thing. I think people usually think that they need, first of all, a lot of time and then nothing else around, right? But I think it's a mystery to say, oh, I need to be retired, I need to have this much of money, blah, 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 blah. So if you would just take, for example, what it would take for you to really learn jazz music, I'm sure there is a part of it where you can start right now, right?
There is, but I'm more thinking about the sort of 8 hours a day practice kind of thing. That's a lot of time.
Well, I mean, I totally understand, because I said I want to get back into professional ballet if I could. And that's something like a 5 to 8 hour of training every day, which I don't have right now, that's for sure. But I can start, and I can start with definitely getting the techniques back into my brain. So later on, I don't have to train technique anymore, but I can focus on strengthening and whatever, So it's these type of things.
True. That's true. You can do similar kind of thing in music. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what I want to kind of share with the people out there. So for example, if you say, let's just say they want to practice to paint like Van Gogh, right? So what's the first thing you would do? You would definitely study what Van Gogh was doing and how he would paint. Not that I know anything about it, but it's the same thing, right? You start with finding the patterns, you start with finding the technique behind it, and then you practice. It doesn't have to be 8 hours right now. It can be an hour a day, but it's an hour a day that moves you ahead of everyone else.
Have you ever, this is something I do from time to time, not all the time, haven't done it for a while. Have you ever just spent a few hours, like 2-3 hours, spinning the globe on Google Earth?
Oh, I do that quite sometimes.
It's amazing. It can be an amazing way, because you can visit oases in the desert. You can sort of like zoom into the Sahara Desert, find a little oasis, and go and see the individual trees and this oasis in the middle of the Sahara Desert. It would be so difficult to get to.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's amazing indeed. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about something like this. So I think there are a lot of people right now that have to cancel flights, cancel their trips. They have maybe travel fever because they are stuck in a place where they might not thought they're going to get stuck or whatever. And I really feel for them, because I know I used to be in that kind of shoes. And so besides like going through Google Earth, what else could they do? I love this topic because we're also talking about travel a lot. So I think we can share a lot of things that they can do. One thing that comes to my mind is you can start, and also because I'm this kind of person, you can start to finally organize your 52,000 photos on your hard drive.
I'll never do. No. I'm not going to ever do that. But I was just thinking, that now that we can't travel, right? Now that travel's off, like some for example, my dad and his friend made a trip from Europe to Thailand, like on the Trans-Siberian. It was like a 2 month trip, and they're going to plan another one. Now that took, my dad would never have done it on his own, not because he didn't want to, but just because he doesn't have the aptitude or discipline to do that level of paperwork.
Hmm.
It's a lot of work to sort out all those visas and to plan that route. And then
Right.
they went back by ship, so he had to like, my dad's friend, my friend as well, like spent a month researching which container ships that you could book a berth on and this kind of thing. So you know,
Right.
you could like start to plan some really incredible trip for when we're all able to travel around the world again. Right?
I love that.
Or even if you don't have the money, you know, you could try and plan a trip for every one day you manage to get the money. That would be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah,
to do.
and start actually saving up for it.
Yeah, let's start saving up. Well, that might be tough, but yeah, you know, the
But
thing
there's
is,
also a lot of things you may not spend money on right now. Like
well, true, but
for example, I don't spend any money anymore on things that I would have usually spent on.
I think I'm spending nothing on except on food at the moment. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so just save it
basically.
up.
But also when you sort of start to plan something major like that, and you know, really get into detail of it, it can be the motivating factor to help you, you know, like a driving force for you to succeed in something, because you
Yeah.
want to, you know, you want to do it so much. Sometimes it's pretty hard to. It depends on the people. You're like, I would say that you're slightly unusual. You have some unusual life experiences. Like I said when we were doing the mindfulness thing, you're a genius in that you do all of the things that I know I should do. That's your genius. I I kind of, yeah. But I'm also, you know, having some sort of ambition to get to, that can be a real motivating thing for me. I don't know if that's like I don't know if that's key in the way that you sort of like live your life. Is it key to have these ambitions, or is it much more that you want to discipline yourself anyway?
Mm, I think it's both. Right now, I think I definitely need those ambitions because I kind of changed my lifestyle and I slowed down a lot. And I need to sometimes remind myself that I shouldn't get stuck in slowing down, if that makes sense.
Mm.
I've been in Germany. We say you're spending your like living life on the fast lane, and in Germany it's the word is like Überholspur, which is like the lane where you overtake the other cars. And the reason why it's like, it's, if you would have literally spent maybe a day or two with me even just 10 years ago, you would have been so exhausted purely from the intensity and the amount of things I would have been doing in a day. And if I look at this now, sometimes I don't even do all of these things now in just a week. And it's just crazy to me. Like the amount of work, the amount of people I met, the amount of things I would organize and get done and do at home and do everywhere else. Like it's just crazy. Besides sleeping, I would just not sit still. And it's just, but it was a coping mechanism. And knowing this now, I just try to find the balance. So I definitely now need a different way to not fall back into this rush, but to also push myself to achieve things. So I think ambitious goals are always good and like a driving force, that's for sure. Yeah.
I do have like some experience of like that fast lane living, because I used to years ago do shipping business, and anybody in that business knows, but export business, and you know, when you're sending containers, I would end up, you know, there's a deadline, the container literally has to leave and lock those doors, and the last 2 days are just absolutely crazy, and you, every time that you do it, you surprise yourself. How is it possible that all that could be fit into 2 days? You would never have thought it possible. Yeah.
Right. And that was my whole life for like 27 years. And it's like nuts. It's insane.
Yeah. All right, we've still got a top three to do. How long have we got left? I
10
can't see
minutes.
the time. We've got 10
About-
minutes.
yeah.
So maybe we should just do our top three and say goodbye and play some music on the way out. If we
Yeah.
want to get 10.
Good
Yeah.
idea.
Okay. Well, I haven't written down a top three, but let me think. I'll just have to go with some of the things I've already said. My number one is I think still il flute, the flute.
Yeah.
I love it. I love having these flutes. Some instrument that's quiet enough that I can practice at home.
Mm-hmm.
That's important to me. And then I have to say, I've been watching a lot of Japanese anime on Netflix. I
Oh,
love this.
cool.
I love the Studio Ghibli anime so much. So I've been watching like all of those. There's a bunch more coming this week. Yeah, so I absolutely love those. And what else? Yeah, like I said, I've been getting back into some sort of not abandoned, but projects that I haven't probably been dug into for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been translating again, and like I said, that opportunity to sort of totally re-examine. So one business in the UK that I'm involved in, I'm trying to completely rethink it. You know, it's like almost all businesses in the UK and around the world, it's completely almost shut down right now. But I'm trying to, if it survives, think of how to reimagine it completely from the ground up.
Yeah.
So there's
Well,
my
let me
top
know
three.
if I can help.
Thanks. Yeah, well, maybe we can have a chat about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
So my top three are literally to do things a little bit differently. So I'm trying to mix things up. So definitely do like exercising at home is always good. I think if we cannot go out or you can't do your usual round or you can't go to the gym, just think about what you can do at home. Like, you know, these 5-liter bottles from any shop that you can buy with water. Just buy 2 of them and you have like 10 kilogram of weight that you can lift, you know, or boxes and fill them up with something heavy. So stuff like this, I like to definitely try to at least move my body. And if I don't exercise, at least stretch and just dance to music, because you don't want to get stuck also in a really dark mood. So I definitely dance at least for half an hour a day. That's not planned, just whenever I think like, oh, I really feel like, oh, and the fires are kind of like taking my breath away. So let's dance, you know, like at least I have a great mood and no breath, but you know, I mean, sometimes you have to choose your battles, right? So
yeah, maybe you can do it like just around the area where your new air purifier is. You know, just dance around the air purifier.
with a direct connection. Yeah. So then the second one is definitely to look at. So I have also shortly a list to look at the list, like what was it that I always wanted to learn. So it could be anything from handicrafts, from languages, from business knowledge and skills, from whatever it is. And so for me right now, I definitely have a few things that I always wanted to learn for my business that I never did because, well, you know, ain't time gonna be here forever. So I definitely now want to kind of restructure my day and also see to take the time to learn these things and to apply them right away. But also to learn something fun that doesn't necessarily need to be for my business. And I was thinking about, I mean, it always sounds so nerdy, but I was thinking about a little bit more of like cognitive behavior and more neuroscience and a little bit deeper into different behavioral psychology.
Yeah, no. I mean, well, I listen to podcasts by people who are really into that stuff. It works. It sounds serious, but it works, right? So.
But it's also like, you know, whenever I say like, oh, I study neuroscience for fun, people just look at me like as if I'm such an ill, and I'm like, it's that's just all right. Let's just move on.
I've been listening to tons of podcasts, and my favorite podcast at the moment is called the Artificial Intelligence Podcast. It's all these like scientists and computer nerds, but it's like they're interviewing Nobel Prize winners. It's interesting.
Yeah, people like us, we need to also exist. So here we go.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is to honestly, so what I love the most about it is right now you can really see, and I know it's getting deep again, but you can really see, first of all, who's really interested in how you feel, how healthy you are, if you need help. You can see that, and everyone else is getting just on my social distancing forever list. So it's a really great time. And then also you can just learn that in a better way how to nurture relationships over distance. You can share things with other people that you may have not thought would be of any interest, and all of these type of things. But I also like to remove myself from the screens and just take the time to think. I think sometimes we just don't take the time. Just listen to what's in here and then change it if I don't like it, or increase it if I think it's great. So I think, I do this usually in the morning and in the evening every day to be able to not go to bed and think about if the virus is going to hit me, if the fire is going to burn me, if, all of these things.
Yeah. All right, that's great. I like it. We went right into our can of worms, and I think we pulled out some good stuff.
Yeah, and we climbed out again.
So
just
thanks
one worm
everybody.
hanging on the leg.
This has been from isolation episode of Relax Time Radio on Friday. Tomorrow, Quintam will be doing his show remotely as well, the Legal Matters show, and then I'll be back with Lily and DJ Nam. We'll try and do a Sunday show like this. So we'll see how we go. First time. Thanks, Mon, for showing us how to do all of this.
My pleasure.
Hope it's still working for everybody out there. This has been Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand, Chiang Mai. See you next time. We're going to play a little bit of music. This is what am I going to play? Let's see. This is a new song from Childish Gambino called 1910. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Have a good stay-at-home weekend.
Right. And let
Alright,
us know on our Facebook page if you have a specific topic we should talk about and what songs you want to hear next week.
Yeah. Stay safe, everybody. Goodbye.
There is something that you should know. contact. We are beautiful, yeah. That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful.
Juice, you got it, yeah. Alright, you got the juice. Let me be clear, let me tell the truth. I love the energy inside the room. Ellie hit the club, baby, come inside the booth. Is you with that? You got the juice. If my phone rings, I'ma come through. And when I come through, I'ma bring the ghost. And we get turned up till we just can't move. Cause I just want a full glass, sipping where the pool at, dripping, don't get splashed. I just want a tall thing cooked when I'm hungry, smiling a badass. I just want a little piece, I don't want the whole thing, baby. Can I feel that? Bless me, fresh squeeze. You got the juice. Let it rain on me like, oh, baby, gon' ride it like cruise. See you shine bright, no juice. You got the juice. I've been underground making moves, but I'm in the night, let's prove. If you're down, girl, come through. You got the. If you fall in love, don't fall for me. You got the. If I lose control, don't call on me. You got the juice. Let me be clear, let me tell the truth. I love the energy inside the room. Ellie hit the club, baby, come inside the booth. Is you with that? You got the juice. If my phone rings, I'ma come through. And when I come through, I'ma bring the goose. And we can get right till we just can't move. Cause I just want a full glass, sipping where the pool at, dripping, don't get splashed. I just want a tall thing cooked when I'm hungry, smiling a badass. I just want a little piece, I don't want the whole thing, baby. Can I feel that? Bless me, fresh squeeze. You got the juice. Let it rain on me like, oh, baby, gon' ride it like cruise. See you shine bright, no juice. You got the juice. I've been underground making moves, but I'm in the night, let's prove. If you're down, girl, come through. You got the. If you fall in love, don't fall for me. You got the. If I lose control, don't call on me. You got the. If you fall in love, don't fall for me. You got the juice. You got the. And if I lose control, don't call on me. You got the. You got the juice. Let it rain on me like, oh, baby, gon' ride it like cruise. See you shine bright, no juice. You got the juice. I've been underground making moves, but I'm in the night, let's prove. If you're down, girl, come through. You got the.
You've been listening to Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai.
Watch our live stream on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.